see Taylor Ray with this event.
Woo!
Jack's putting a roll on him.
I'm Aaron. This is Taylor Ray. He is a YouTuber with a much bigger channel than mine, so you've probably heard of him. And even if you're on my channel, you've probably never heard of me. I host drift events. I've been around drifting a very long time, and I started making some videos about YouTubing and about sponsorship and how all this stuff works, and about how a drifter should have their own distribution model, since your sponsors no longer provide that through buying magazine ads, or like you don't get into magazine necessarily for anything anymore. You're not really on TV doing anything. So the drifters themselves need to provide their own distribution, which is your own YouTube channel, your own Instagram stuff. That's if you want to be sponsored. Doesn't need to mean anyone needs to be sponsored to get free parts. You can just have a job and have money to go racing. That's probably a way better idea.
Way better.
To have a real career.
Yes.
So what I'm talking about is, sorry, I'm burping. Most drifters have been very unsuccessful coming up with their own distribution format, whether it be YouTube or Instagram or stuff, unless they're professionals and they kind of were already big. So I was talking like a year or two ago about how YouTube or drifters should utilize YouTube to do that and everything, but realistically, no drifters had breakout success for the most part, or very few of them have had breakout success making drifting their main source of income, or how they afford to drift, or all those things. Instead, what's happened is the YouTubers thought, oh, drifting looks fun, that would make cool content, I'm gonna do that, and they get into that. And then they make the money and they get the parts and all that stuff, so then they become drifters. And maybe Adam's a good example of that. He wasn't really a drifter when he was a big YouTuber, but now he's an amazing drifter.
Yeah,
he sucks up lots of the drifting money for sponsorship. First of all, we're doing this video after a whole weekend of events, so we're both tired, but I thought it's fun. Okay, so I'm gonna let you talk in a second. So his introduction is, he's a very successful drifter, YouTuber and all that stuff, and he was a drifter before YouTubing.
Way before.
Way before. Okay, so how did you find success? Do you make it your real living? Do you really just work on cars and go drifting and have fun, and YouTube pays you for that? Like, tell me, how does it work?
So, one, I got super fortunate because I met Adam through working at BC. I was installing some coilovers on his car, and we got to talking. I was telling him about drifting, he wanted to get into drifting, and I started helping him with that. And then one day he's like, hey, you should start a YouTube channel. And I honestly had no interest, no thoughts of starting a YouTube channel before that point. But he's like, hey, I'll help you. And I'm like, hey, this is an opportunity you don't get very often. So I did it, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. And it's interesting because you look at it from the outside, and I would definitely say it looks like a dream job. Like, oh, you make videos of working on your cars and you can get sponsorships, which you can't get as many as people would think. It's not that great. You definitely get some, but it's not like everyone's just throwing parts at you. But it is, I had a normal job for my entire life up until less than a year ago when I finally went YouTube full time. And like the nice thing about a normal job is like, how much money you're gonna make, what your room for advancement is, everything. Like, I'm gonna come home with this much money, I can spend this much money with YouTube. Tomorrow, I could just stop getting views on my channel, and next month I could be completely broke, So it's one of those things, and it's tough because everything you do, like when I come out here, I've got to think about filming, and I'm trying to compete and battle, and I got to change my tires, but I've also got to set my camera up and change batteries and make sure the camera angle's good, and it adds a lot more to it. I'm not saying it's a hard job at all, it's a very easy job. I'd say the hardest part is the creativity aspect. Like when I'm working on my car and I've got like maintenance stuff to do, like I broke my steering rack or something this weekend, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Now either I don't film it and I don't make any income off of it, or I've got to film it and figure out a way to make changing a steering rack interesting, because it's not interesting. So it's tough, and it's kind of like the more money you make with YouTube and that you reinvest, the more interesting stuff you can do and the more money you can make. But it's hard when you get stuck in like a rut where you're not really making enough to invest a ton in other stuff besides what you want to do. So I don't know, it's definitely an interesting world.
But I would say doing grassroots events, he has like the normal path for someone to make money in drifting, if they're not a mechanic or not like working somewhere, is they try and go pro, figure that out, and that affords them the ability to drive because sponsors are paying them to do so.
which
And first of all,
is hard.
we're not doing a great job with this video. I apologize. We're tired. But you become a professional racer, you do better, you podium, you get more money, you do all that stuff. You keep going up the ladder. He has branched out. He doesn't have to win to get paid.
No.
He doesn't have to win to have a livable income. He just builds cars that he thinks are cool. He entertains people. He has fun, and he makes sure the audience is priority so that they can watch and have fun, and they fund him and all that stuff and learn and everything, and he provides value for them, and he doesn't have to necessarily deal with sponsors, doesn't have to deal with winning, which is, you are winning, but like, it's not important. All you have to do is keep the audience like interested in having fun. So it's a completely new era of racing, which means you don't have to go pro. You can go out and have a minimal like grassroots fun weekend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
And you can do all that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do any huge professional
but like I
Formula One
don't
thing,
have to.
But you don't have to,
no,
which is cool.
And I can go drive out to Texas just to drive a Lone Star event because it's fun. Like, you know, I don't know. I think too the fact that I don't like have to win to try to, you know, help sponsors or whatever. Like I have no sponsorships based around doing Pro-Am. This is all just like, I'm here, I came here to drive, I get to do Pro-Am while I'm here. And I think that definitely helps a lot with like my mindset, because I'm not going into it nervous and like stressed about like, I need to perform, I need to do well. I'm just like, I'm gonna do as many battles as I can and enjoy driving some more, and like that's it. That's all there is to it for me. So like, that definitely helps a lot.
He has sponsors and makes his money off racing, and look at his car. Not a single sticker, Si.
None. Yeah,
not a single sticker.
That's true, besides the OSW banner.
All those suckers that gave him parts. No, I'm joking. He provided value when he put the parts on the car and he did all that stuff.
Made a video.
And he makes sure that they all see value in it, and he keeps the sponsors and stuff. Where do you think we should take this video? Like, I kind of always push that aspect of what makes you unique, which makes you very unique here, because you're probably the only driver here that makes your money at drifting. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well,
that's not a mechanic.
I will say one thing though. My drift event videos get far worse views than a video of me changing my steering rack after the drift event. Funny enough.
But you're legitimized as someone to trust and everything because you're doing well as drifting.
Well, that's
if you were a terrible drifter, everybody'd be like, oh, don't listen to Taylor, he sucks, and they wouldn't watch your other videos.
Plus, people know I have been doing it for like a long time. I mean, I've been drifting for like 9 or 10 years now. 9? What's it, 2019? So since 2010, 2011. You know, and in and out of that time, like probably half the time I didn't have a working car. And that's, I think it's cool for me because, you know, I've gained the perspective of somebody who doesn't have a ton of money to do this. And that's why like I'm very picky with like what kind of car I want to build. And I try to promote that like in videos and show people. That's why we push the Z super hard and stuff, because, you know, I want people to go out and just drive. And I was the guy who tried to build a 2.2-stroker SR car, didn't have the money to even get it running, let alone like all the other stuff it was gonna need. And I didn't drift for like 4 years because of it, you know? And like, I don't ever wanna do that again. You know, I'd rather drive a 1.8 stock Miata than not drive a 700 horsepower car. I mean, that's, and then cost of driving. Like, that's why I built a Miata, because they're cheap to run, because they run small, cheap tires and whatever, less consumables. It's a lighter car, easier on the drivetrain. But anyway, like I kind of base my whole program, if you want to call it that, around like efficiency and cost, which is why I'm like indecisive on my trailer and truck setup, because it feels inefficient. Like I like efficiency, like trying to do the most with the least, trying to come out here and drive as many laps as possible for as little money as possible and just have as much fun as I can.
Let's play a game. All right, I'm gonna think up questions as fast as I can to ask him, and he has to answer them. Do you make your full income on YouTube?
Yes. Now.
Is it a livable wage?
Yes.
Absolutely. How many hours a week do you do the YouTubing?
Oh, a lot.
More than 40?
Way more than 40.
More than 60?
Probably 12 to 14 hours a day for 7 days.
Is it scalable, and will you make money in the future, and are you confident?
Scalable's hard because there's so many people coming into it and so many people who are doing really, really well, and they're really good at making really interesting content. So, I mean, yes, it's one of those things, spend money to make money. So like, you have to reinvest the money that you're making on it into it. You know, like I don't really make any money. I spend it all on trying to make bigger and better content. And right now, you know, I've been busy for the past like year or so building cars I want to build. And it's like you kind of have to build stuff you don't really care about, but that like would be interesting to other people, you know, because that's the only really way to grow. Like nobody cares to see you build an LS240. Like nobody cares, you know. People want to see an LS Rolls Royce drifting, you know, which I wouldn't advise that, but it's kind of tough in that aspect. Like I am lucky enough to make like a good livable wage just doing what I would do anyway. You know, like I would be building this car and I would be here driving anyway. But to really grow it, like I have to start doing things that I wouldn't necessarily do otherwise.
Do you make way more money YouTubing than you did your previous job?
Yes.
Who's the best driver here today?
Oh man, that's tough. There's a lot of good drivers.
You're supposed to say
Nick
you.
Novak was, Nick Novak was
You
killing it.
won!
Michael was killing it. Yeah, but you know.
Is your car the best car here?
Ooh, I mean, I almost want to say yes to that.
Okay, well it won. How much did your car cost to build?
I think I did the math, and with paint and everything, like 24,000.
Okay, and how much did some of the other cars cost to build? Do you think, because you've done the math?
Like
What's
50, 100.
No, the most expensive car here.
Oh God, 100 plus?
Yeah, absolutely.
say, yeah.
They're shot built too.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah,
like-
I did everything myself.
Yeah.
Besides the cage
shot built
and the
with
paint.
sequential transmissions.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. That's what I like about this car, because this car is a
Shots
very
fired.
No, it's not shots fired. We were just talking about that. Like,
this car
it's
is
a very successful car.
minimalistic car. Like it's a 5.3 aluminum block with like a $400 cam and spring combo, a stock
With a
intake,
dry sump.
stock ECU. I did put a dry sump on it for reliability.
Yeah.
Because I blew up
Okay.
my first motor.
You won 2 events immediately back to back in Texas and Pro-Am, which is not easy. Sai, how many people do that?
I don't know. I don't keep track of this.
Not much. Is it your car? Is it your driving ability? Did you come out with a ringer car? What happened?
I think it's the car helps a lot, because the car is really, really nimble, and like I can really throw the car any way I want, except for this round because my steering rack was broken and that was really hard to deal with. But I think a lot of it is just like seat time, because you know, driving with Matt and Adam in the Z's, I mean, we have done thousands of laps, bumper to bumper, door to door, like touching each other, not touching each other. Like we have pushed so hard, and I feel like because of that beater car, like don't just build a nice car and try to have a nice car. You have to have a beater car. You have to find the limits, because driving that car, I was able to find the limits, push past the limits. There was a point where we were crashing every event, and then finally we got to the point where we didn't crash at all. We'd be like almost touching each other every lap and not crash. So it's like you have to find your limits, push past them, and then like figure out how to dial it back, basically. And I think that's what's helped me a lot, and like just being able to drive a lot. You know, having an affordable car to run, having events all the time. Like I have driven so much in the past 2 years. And sim. Lit for
Sim,
speed,
yeah.
way better than Assetto Corsa.
Oh, I don't know about that because I've never played it.
Lit for speed.
What's your most embarrassing memory of your life?
Of my life? Oh.
No, you don't need to tell that. That's embarrassing.
That's too embarrassing.
It's a joke.
No, that's too embarrassing.
Too big of an audience to tell that to. All right, Sai, give me a question. Help me out. We're trying to fire these off fast.
I wasn't thinking.
You're never thinking. Damn it. All right, he's just the beauty
dude.
behind the camera. Show us around your car real quick.
Okay. All right, let's go to the hood first. It's got a KBD body kit, which is indestructible because I ran into Zach earlier and I've been hit a bunch and it's fine. Like I said, 5.3 aluminum block truck motor. Nothing special in here. Like literally, cam and spring combo is $400. Stock ECU with a flex fuel sensor. It's got a dry
Do you
sump.
run E85?
Yes, I run 85 because it runs cooler. It's got a dry sump, which is like the main baller thing on the car, the dry sump, which is totally worth it. It's like sub $3,000 with an ATI damper, and I haven't blown up another motor. So it already saved me money if I would have blown up another motor if I didn't do it. Other baller thing on the car, everything else is pretty standard, like swap kit stuff and whatever. My car is like full of crap right now, but the switch panel, it's a ECU Masters PMU, so it's a solid state. Instead of having fuses and relays, it's a solid state.
We have a video on this.
Yeah, we just did it. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, it's a solid state control box, and it runs just CAN bus to the control box, which I have under there. Super easy to wire. I can change everything. It's amazing. I love it. Absolutely amazing. Other than that, it's a $40 488 diff. It's a junkyard CD09 trans. The motor is a junkyard motor that I got the heads redone on, just refreshed because they were pitted. The valves were pitted. And then a Monster Miata swap kit. I have big brakes. I have like Willwood 4-piston kit, and that honestly helped a lot more than I thought it would. I did it to go road racing, and it made a huge difference in drifting because I can fly up on somebody and I know that I can slam the brakes and the car's not going to lock up and it's going to stop like very, very quickly. Like I never have to worry that I won't be able to stop as fast as somebody else. I've never had a car with good brakes in drifting, and it makes a massive difference. Like not something you would think of. And left foot braking, I can stand on it. I can be behind someone going 30 miles an hour slower than I need to go and stay drifting because the brakes aren't locking up and doing weird stuff. So that helps a lot. Roll cage.
All right, back to the beginning of the video. Do you think it's still possible for drifters? Because everybody's like, oh, YouTube's saturated. Do you think any drifters, if they made compelling content, could get on YouTube and make it their full-time career and quit their job at O'Reilly's or wherever and like do what you do now? Because I don't think most drifters that have no college degree, I mean, not everybody, but I'm just saying, like a lot of drifters are lower income and everything.
That was me.
That was you.
Before YouTube.
They don't have the ability to do what you do and build these amazing cars and go drifting because you're 20 hours away from home,
Yeah.
like crossing the nation and stuff. Do you think that people could still do it and use your same path to glory?
They would have to use a different path, and they'd have to do something more interesting than I'm doing. My videos are interesting for the population that likes drifting, which we think is like a huge population, but in reality it's not. Like, it is not that big of a group of people. Like, we know most of them, right? So you have to do something outside the box. You have to do something interesting. You have to do something that the masses are gonna wanna watch. And it sounds like selling out and whatever, but like, you know, I don't watch that many videos. I watch Aaron's videos, but like one of the only car channels I watch. I just don't, you know, like, unless it's something like super out of the box and interesting, you know? So that's the hard part. Like, if you just want to make a vlog of you going to a drift event and stuff, like, I don't think you could do it personally. But if you can come up with some sort of concept, I mean, there's the Mr. Beast guy on YouTube who just started doing like, these people stand in a circle and they get 50 grand or whatever. Anyway, point is, he's making millions of dollars right now because he came up with something other people hadn't done, you know? And that's really the key to it. That's really the key to it. Like, you have to come up with something interesting. You know, I did a video putting syrup in an engine and it blew up and that got over 1 million views. None of my videos get 1 million views.
Oh,
that video did.
How much money do you make off a video with 1 million views? You don't have to tell us.
1 million views is like 5 grand.
$5,000?
Yeah.
So what happens when somebody gets like, say, 9 million views of someone we know?
I mean, it depends because it's like their ad, like,
sorry about the wind.
Their ad percentage, and then it's also like how many ads they have in a video. If it's all short videos and they've got one ad break.
Say it's a 20-minute video with 9.5 million views.
Oh God, what, $50,000?
$50,000?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. It changes too, though. That's the other thing about YouTube. Like, you could get the same 1 million views every month, and you could make 3 grand. Or you say you make 5 grand, and then 2 months from now, like, ad rev drops because all these companies pull out of YouTube, which is completely out of your control, or YouTube demonetizes your content because drifting's no longer family friendly or whatever. And then you could be making 2 grand a month, or 1 grand a month, or nothing a month.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with YouTube, is it is very finicky. It is a gamble, which working for yourself is in general. And I will say, working for yourself is not as glamorous as people make it out to be. Like, it is nice to have a consistent, like, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get paid. When you're working for yourself, you're working all the time. Like, I never have a day off. There's never a day where I'm just like chilling, watching TV. Like, I don't do that, because every day I'm like, I have stuff to do, I need to put a video out, like, I need to work. Like, I have to, every day. And you're always thinking about it. If you do somehow take a day where you're not working, you're thinking about, like, what am I gonna film tomorrow? How am I gonna make it interesting? When am I gonna upload it? Is it gonna be enough for a video? Is it not gonna be enough for a video? You know, is it gonna be interesting enough? Is it not? Constantly. So it is stressful. Better than working at O'Reilly's, but.
Someone like myself, though, so I knew Taylor before he started making big money. I'm
not making big money, but.
Big YouTube money. Like, he just said he made 5 grand off one video.
I get like 1 million views a month.
I'm just trolling him. But I knew you before you were making big money, and you know, you were on a budget and everything. I'm sure you're still on a budget, but like,
yeah, well, I'm on less of a budget now.
I knew you, though, Hurt, I knew Dan, and I knew lots of other YouTubers back when y'all were making, what should I say, $10 an hour or less,
yeah,
or like in that range? But a normal
like
young
$10
person.
to $12 an hour.
Yeah, so, you know, not a crazy amount of money, $10 to $12 an hour, and now all those people are doing fantastic specifically because of YouTube. They control their own content and stuff. They do really interesting stuff. So it's exciting for me to see this because all the drifters, everybody calls me like dad drifter. What do you call me? Drift dad.
Drift dad.
When I take them to Japan and stuff.
Yeah,
and now
that's what they call me too. Sometimes.
They do?
Yeah,
does that make you feel old?
No.
Because you have a 12-year-old audience?
Yeah, I've just been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people call me Drift Dad because I've been doing it for a long time.
But it makes me like super excited because we see a bunch of drifters be successful. Because most drifters have to be successful outside of drifting with the normal career, go be a doctor, lawyer, realtor, something, and then they come drive. Yeah, so it's really cool to see my friends succeed.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I feel lucky that like I didn't like start out like this. You know, I worked for years and years and years. I worked construction jobs, working 70 hours a week. You know, I worked good and bad jobs, mostly bad, one good. And I didn't really have the money to go drifting even on a budget for a long time. So now, like, having the money to do it and the means to do it, and like the ability to comfortably drive to Texas, drive all weekend, you know, like it's not like nothing to me, you know, like I have to budget for it, otherwise I'll be broke, but like I can physically do it without going like, am I gonna be able to pay my power bill? And to me that's huge, and like I'm super grateful for it because I didn't have this before, you know, like I'm like still like mind blown that I have what I have, that I have a truck with an enclosed trailer and an LS Miata, and like I'm able to come out here and drive and not really have to be freaking out about like,
dude, think about it. Think about how many people do you know that could afford a truck, a trailer like that, a crazy V8 dry sump Miata, you know, you have a daily, you know, like all these things, you have a place to live. How many people can really afford all that stuff and travel across the nation? It doesn't matter if you even go home in the next 2 weeks, if you think about it. You could literally be on the road for 2 weeks having fun, doing whatever, and constantly producing content. You could literally drive this thing to Australia or something.
So, but like I couldn't afford to stay on the road for 2 weeks.
You don't think you could?
I mean, if I dipped into like savings, but like
no, if you just crashed in people's.
I mean, yeah, but like if I were to stay at a hotel every night and whatever, couldn't do it. Yeah. You know, so I'm not quite at that level, but like the fact that I can go drifting without having to worry about like if I can pay rent is amazing. Like that's all.
You're discounting one thing though. As a YouTuber, you're loved by tons of people, and you have a couch to crash on anywhere. You have a garage anywhere to work on your car. You have a place to park your truck and trailer anywhere in the nation. So you could stay on the road for 2 weeks. Do you agree on the networking part?
Yeah, absolutely.
How big, oh, that's something we didn't cover. How big is the networking effect of YouTube? Like
huge. In
relation to your life? Who wants to help you? Who wants to be your friend? Explain that real quick. I'm gonna take a radio call.
I mean, a lot of people. It's definitely tricky. I think when I started earlier, I was always kind of like, oh, does this person want to be my friend because of YouTube and whatever, and now that it's gotten way bigger, I don't know, I feel like I can sense it more. Like, there's not many people who are like just trying to be my friend because of YouTube, and like, I try to just not even let myself think that way to begin with. What?
1 minute.
Oh, to leave?
No, memory card.
Yes, drifting, I love it, it's great. Thank you guys for watching Aaron's channel. I love Lone Star events. I have a blast out here every time. I have like literally like a family out here. It's like going to a local event for me. I have so many great friends here. I love everybody. Goodbye.
Away from Florida State. Oh, it was Taylor? It was Taylor. One of them. Harrison, who was it?
Cheers.
Yeah, Taylor, there we go.
Did he say you?
I don't know who he said.
I don't know what he said.
I think he said I'm in Florida.
Jack Davis. I was gonna too busy.
All right.
What happened?
For everybody.
You just had a coupler. Blew my coupler for like the fourth time.
Back on track. So if you're a registered driver with the correct test and all that stuff, you can get on track in 10 minutes.
Alright, so don't blow coupler.
Get in great
Your
right
car
now.
is so
if you're a
fast.
driver.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That car is fucking fast.
Like I said, dude, on the run up, like Michael, I had to like, come on, get in here, and then roll out, and then like by the time he lagged and we evened out.
Where's your steering wheel, Zach?
We have the TMS.
Where's your steering wheel, Zach?
He brings his other one over here.
The TMS award, the TMS King Award should go to Zach Fishmark.
Oh, yeah, we were taking a photo?
Oh.
Wait, let me get a photo too.
They don't know that it's not a photo.